Hello everyone, welcome to Achiever Success, a talk show. I am Abhilash Kshatriya. We have an achiever who was born in Dehradun, brought up in Mumbai, pursued his education in the Navy, and now the director of Manipal Institute of Technology, Manipal. So, my dear viewer friends, let's welcome Commander Dr. Anil Rana to the Achiever Success talk show. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you, and thank you for having me on the show.
Yes, sir. It's my pleasure to have you in my show, sir. In our talk show, usually I ask the journey of an achiever. It would be really interesting to know, since you are a commander and now the director of Manipal Institute of Technology, Manipal, we are very happy to have you. Also, would like to know a lot more from you, sir.
Thank you.
Like right from your childhood days.
Okay. So, I come from a family which has had a military background, so to say.
Okay.
And for some reason, my father had joined the Navy,
Okay.
where the others, brothers and all of them joined the army.
Okay.
And he hailed from Dehradun.
Okay.
He was on board INS Kukri.
Okay.
This is the warship which went down in 1971 Indo-Pak War.
Okay.
I was about 4.5, maybe 4 years old that time.
Okay.
And so we continued staying in Mumbai.
Okay.
My education happened in a place called Kolaba, which is south of Mumbai.
Okay.
And I studied in Central School, Kolaba.
Okay.
And after I finished my studies, I joined the Indian Navy
Okay.
as an artificer apprentice.
Okay.
And this is nothing but a polytechnic diploma program, mechanical engineering.
Okay.
But it's a 4 years quite detailed program which runs into a lot of specialized field of engineering systems of the Navy.
Okay.
And I finished my education and then I joined a ship which was INS Kadmat. It was those days also quite an old creaky ship, a Russian destroyer of small size, but had all the engineering systems possible on board that small platform. So from gas turbines to auxiliary steam boilers to opposed piston diesel engines to power generation system of 3 different makes. There was all kinds of systems that were available. It had 5 propellers which included 2 electrical driven called power oaths and 3 main propellers. And it was a ship which was packed with all the engineering system. I learned a lot on board these ships.
During your school days, sir, did anyone guide you through this, or was it your passion? What exactly?
I won't say it was my passion, but yes, I was cut out for joining the Navy right from the beginning, because this place that I was staying is called Navy Nagar,
Okay.
and basically it's houses the accommodation for all the naval personnel
Okay.
in that place.
Okay. So that made you join the Navy.
Correct.
Okay.
That's right.
How was the experience, sir?
It was tremendous. I loved it. Yes, it was tough in the beginning because the initial 4 years that we had in INS Shivaji Lonavala, there was the training base, and it was pretty rough because you were very young, and immediately when you land up there, you were doing a lot of physical training. Of course, there was education also involved in the morning hours, but generally in the afternoon, in the evening, you were, regardless of what you do, you were landed up in some sort of physical punishment.
When we see a lot of students, if something they take it up, then usually when they feel that it's tough, they give it up. So was there any situation where you felt like you want to give up?
No, never.
No, never.
Never.
It was hard work, determination towards it, or?
Yeah, it was basically, I knew and very confident of what I was doing, and I knew that I could easily sail through.
Okay.
I must say, not too bad in studies, so I was considered good.
Okay.
So therefore, I could really get good marks in my initial course, and I was very confident that I could make it up even to become an officer later.
Now, what would you suggest students who are studying in their 10th standard right now and PUC who would like to go for the Air Force or Navy or lot of other streams? What do you suggest, sir? How do you suggest? Because as you know, nowadays people go to engineering or medical. As you know, those are the key areas. Usually sometimes parents force it. Some parents.
Yeah, that's correct.
So for such parents, what do you suggest?
So I would tell the parents that they must relax and let the kids choose for themselves.
Yeah.
I think that is what I've done for my own son.
Okay.
I think the school days are very young days, and the students are generally not very sure of what they want to do earlier. But yes, they have certain likings for a few subjects. They have their own kind of, I would say, attraction to a particular hobby or a particular discipline. I think we should allow the students to take those hobbies and take it up, become professionals if they want in those areas, because these days they have lots of opportunities. It's not only about engineering.
Give them chance.
Give them chance, let them explore if required, let them try out different fields, let them try out music, let them see whether they can do good in that particular field. Of course, absolutely.
But still guidance is required.
Guidance is required.
Yeah.
When you talk about defense, the career itself, I would say, is amazing these days. And if somebody is in 10th standard, like you mentioned, what advice should I give them? I would say that the students need to be aware of what is happening in and around them, and should not immerse themselves in computer games. They should be reading the news,
Computer games
knowing the
attract
current affairs. I would say, yeah, attraction, but it's the defense forces are not only about war games. It's about much more. These days, the technology has advanced to a level where even in the armed forces, you're supposed to man a platform. You're supposed to be knowing a lot of things. Therefore, education has become very, very important even in the forces now.
Important and interesting also.
And interesting. Yes, there are their own challenges, but yes, it is absolutely interesting.
Okay. Then how about next, sir? Like after that?
Okay, so then if somebody wants to make a career in the defense forces, there are so many options, so many branches, but if you really want to pursue higher education, there's still chances there.
Okay.
So like all the three services allow you an opportunity to pursue post-graduation from very reputed institutes like IITs.
Okay.
And I did my MTech from IIT Delhi, and it was a sponsored course. So here you are, you get your whole salary, you also have a rank, and you are a student in an IIT, in an amazing institute, learning new things. So it's an amazing life.
Yeah. Then comes PhD.
Then comes PhD. If you really want to pursue, if you really do well in MTech, I'm sure you would choose a path of advancing that knowledge. But yes, PhD becomes a little difficult at times also because it is not sponsored.
Correct.
So that means you have to find your own time to pursue your academic interest here.
Interest matter a lot, yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. But now when you say that you are a commander, sir, usually strictness is what we see in commander.
I won't say strictness, it's just adhering to discipline. So even when I'm here in my institute now, I'm in MIT, and I'm very happy to say that most of my staff, almost all the staff, and even the students, they are pretty punctual with what they want to do. They know how to plan their things, they know how to prioritize. I think it's very important lessons.
Yes.
And the students do a lot of activities, and they really cooperate with each other. They have a lot of teamwork, they show leadership skill, they show management skills. So they're doing amazing job. I'm very happy and pleased that I'm here.
One out of the box question, sir.
Yep.
Was Commander Dr. Anil Rana too strict during this college days, sir?
No, I wouldn't say so. I was not very strict. Yes, I was sticking to the punctuality, to the discipline. So discipline doesn't mean that one needs to be not smiling at times or sticking to only the regular timings or scheduled timings. That is of course one part.
Yeah.
But discipline also means that you plan your activities well, you schedule them well, you write them, record them well, and you be very proactive in taking up things so that you don't miss out on things or lag behind on certain activities. As long as you know how to plan things out and how to schedule, how to delegate your responsibility in a systematic way, I think you are disciplined.
Okay.
Yeah.
So speaking about focus and dedication towards students. Now, with respect to choosing the colleges, what do you suggest to students as well as parents? How to choose a college, sir? Whether with respect to the branches or with respect to the name and fame of the college? People go behind placements.
So that's a very good question.
Yeah.
So placement is of course one factor, but that's not all.
Yeah.
So there were parents who had come to me just before this admission opened up for our own institute, and they wanted to know a lot from me.
Okay.
And I did give them all the knowledge, and I allowed them to explore the area. But more than that, I said these days there are a lot of information now even on the net.
Yes.
So the first thing that you need to look into any college, institution, university, find out whether they are accredited.
Correct.
That means they have accreditation. If they're NBA accredited, AICT accredited, the NRF rankings. I think those things are something that you can compare with. But even though you have seen their ranking, you looked at the accreditation, but also look at what else they are, giving you. So, for example, in MIT, when we talk, there is so much more learning that we provide outside the classroom. So when we talk of experiential learning, we have amazing clubs, we have amazing major projects, we allow the students to work in groups, and they pick up so many skills which are non-technical.
Yes.
Like cooperation, teamwork, and situational awareness, decision making,
Thinking out of the box.
problem solving,
Yes.
so creativity. So all these things come in outside the classrooms as well.
Correct.
So that is what we promote, and whenever the parents are here and they look around and they look at the projects and they find out, they know that we offer so much more now.
Okay. Since I train a lot of PUC students, usually parents come and ask like which college would be the better college and all those questions. No, it's common question actually. Like if they're going for Bangalore, which colleges? If they want in Dakshin Kannada, which are the colleges? All those things. So I thought it's better to ask you what were the factors which really matter a lot from parents' point of view. Obviously, they say they don't need their award to go somewhere else, especially in coastal Karnataka. Not all, some. So these are all the problems usually people face. With respect to your career, sir, now after PhD, like what was your plan?
Yeah, so after PhD, when I finished, in fact, I was planning to quit the Navy, and I was sure that I would get into the academics.
Okay.
And that is what I did.
Can I know why, sir? Like,
you're
a passionate person who.
So there were multiple reasons for it. There was no one single reason. One of the reason was that I had a kind of an injury. I was in a nuclear submarine project, and I had sustained an injury. My spinal cord was operated upon. So I was hospitalized for a very long time.
Was it a tough decision to quit Navy? Or
no, I think I just went with the flow. It wasn't that tough a decision. But yes, I wanted to plan it ahead, and I wanted to see that all my, even my kids' education, where he would go, where he would join, what should be the path for him, and even for me, which area I want to join, where I want to apply. So all those things needed to be planned, and I did that, and I left on 31st of December 2012, so the last day. In fact, 2013 I was a civilian, so to say. And the same year, I went to Fiji National University and as a professor and associate dean, and then I was there for about 5 years before I returned back to Symbiosis in Pune.
How was the change, sir? Like, how did you feel from Navy to academics?
Okay, yeah. So I don't know whether to say fortunately or unfortunately for me. When I left Navy for about 3 months, I was exploring, and initially I did join JCRC University in Jaipur, but I had made it very clear that I would be leaving out and I was going abroad. And then I went to Fiji National University. It was an amazing place. So the transition was, I would say, very good. In a way that I was into a field, in the academic field, that too in a country which is lovely and has got tourism as the main source of the economy there and main source of income. And it was amazing to serve in Fiji National University for good 5 years. They do a lot. They provide an amazing student learning experience, and even for the people who come from abroad, they provide very good
Is it a rare combination of a commander getting into academics, or is it normal, sir, these days?
No, it's not that rare now. So many of my friends, my course-mates are there. My own course-mate GL Sharma is again in Manipal, now he is in Sikkim. And the another course-mate, Dr. Goswami, is in Andhra. He is again into academics. So there are many more now.
Discipline will be the priority.
Yes, I think more than discipline is the exposure, because in the armed forces you are already exposed to handling a tight load, whether it is academic workload or administrative workload in a big organization like this, which has almost like 670 faculty staff and another 300-400 non-teaching staff. So there is a big organization, and you need to keep everything tight. You need to keep this ball rolling every day in and out. So I think we all used to handle that kind of workload. So therefore we just easily fit in.
Okay. How do you motivate yourself, sir, with lot of experience? Like, does the situation motivate you, or you motivate yourself?
No, I think I'm self-motivated. Most of the officers in the forces are self-motivated. That's why we say that the officers should not need any motivation,
Yeah.
because that's what it should come from within.
Yes.
And I think same is true for me too.
Okay.
And but here MIT, yes, I get amazed and I get motivated a lot by looking at my students.
Okay.
Even at this hour, if you just go out and you'll see how many students are practicing outside various activities. There'll be a lot of students working in the workshop.
Exactly.
After the academic hours, they would be there. They will be working on the projects, totally focused on the job. So
Speaking
that's
about
the-
students, what do you see the changes, sir, right from if you compare the older generation to the present generation?
Okay.
What are the different changes? What you might have observed, because you're an experienced person.
So there are many changes. I think the first and foremost is the kind of information that is available to these students these days. So they're well informed. Unlike our days, where the information itself is a problem. So you want to seek something or to learn something, you need to go to the library, pick up the right book and read. Right now it's just on your phone. You can just check about what your professor is saying, whether it is true or not. So, so therefore there are a lot of information available. Therefore the students are very well informed and they know what they're looking for.
Yes.
Earlier it was kind of whatever was taught in the classroom, that was the gospel truth.
Yes.
But not anymore.
We learn from students.
Yes, we learn a lot from this one. That's true. That's true.
That's what. Speaking about passion, sir, do we need to chase our passion, or will our smart work will finally lead us to our destination? What do you say, sir?
I feel if you have a passion, I think you'll have to chase it, because in life nothing comes easy. Let me just put it well, unless you are coming from a very highly privileged lot.
Yes.
But that is not the case with generally the middle class people. So if you have a passion, you will have to plan how the events will fold in future. You will have to chase your passion. You will have to see that all the resources that you need for chasing the passion, you have to draw them out and see how you're going to seek them. So all those things needs to be planned and therefore needs to be chased.
Okay. Those were really true words of wisdom, sir. Speaking about the choice of career, like usually students, some they are very much interested into their co-curricular activities. Like they might be very good at dancing, they might be very good, they may be a very good singer also. But can they keep their passion aside and focus only on studies, or how exactly to gel both?
I think these days there is a requirement of both the things to work together.
But time, sir.
Yeah, so time management is again one important skill that we learn when we handle these kind of activities, and that is why I say here I am amazed that there are so many other activities there and students fully participate in all those. I am reminded of one of the alumni who made a statement in the curriculum conclave that we recently had.
Okay.
He said that in an organization these days you will get hired because of your hard skills,
Yes.
and you'll get fired because of your soft skills.
Okay.
What he was trying to say that you could be a very good mathematician, a very good electrical engineer,
Okay.
but if you don't know how to work in team,
Correct.
you don't know how to cooperate with other people, you get fired very easily.
Yes.
So that is what he was saying. That is why these other co-curricular activities are absolutely important.
Okay. And patience, what do you say, sir?
Yes, that is one of the virtues that we need to have. When we work in group, you automatically turn patient, because you are working in a group, you need to understand each other, time, space, their boundaries,
Yes.
which you cannot cross. So you learn those things. And in every group, they will find one or two guys very excited, very curious, always keep everything up. So you need to listen to them. They will have all sorts of criticism, negative feedbacks also.
Correct.
So when you learn in a group, you learn how to tolerate it, you learn how to respond to that.
Yes.
That is why it makes you more patient, and
Yeah.
it allows you to work in
There are
team.
one or two people who always lead the group.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Speaking about leading the group, sir, how about leadership quality in a person? What do you say about it?
Yeah.
Are
So
you supposed to train them under leadership, or is it like they are?
So there is always a debate about leadership, whether it is inborn or it can
Yeah,
be
exactly.
trained.
Yes.
So I would say it is a mix of both.
Okay.
Some amount of training definitely helps,
Okay.
because what you can do to a person is when you can train him, or you can let him pass through various kinds of cases and conditions, you will learn that he picks up certain qualities
Correct.
which makes him a good leader.
Okay.
In a large organization again like this, there could be all sorts of problems.
Okay.
how do you handle them? What problems you can delegate for others to solve? Yes, decision making is important. Delegation is also important. Trying to understand the priority involved is also very important. So I think all these things need to be there in a good leader.
Okay.
And he should also obviously have the professional competence. That is the foremost requirement on top. Because if that is not there, people will not have trust in him. They will not believe him in whatever he says. Yeah, that is also important.
Again, one more out of the box question, sir. What is the secret of your fitness, sir?
Oh yeah, I run every day and I go to gym. I
Even
work
now?
out even now. Yes, even now. So I've learned myself to keep myself fit, whether I was in a ship or in a shore station, and I've been following the same routine even now.
There might be some wow factor in you. Can we know what is that one wow factor in you which makes you energetic?
I really don't know, but one good wow factor is my sense of humor, that I always keep it with me, and I learn to crack jokes and loosen the things out when things become very tight and stressed.
Yeah.
I think that's it. Yeah.
Okay. What are your future plans, sir? Like, what next? I know it's
So my
some-
future plans are well aligned with the institute right now. So we are looking at improving the performance, whether it is research or whether it is academic excellence. And MIT is already there. It's got a brand. It's in itself. It's got a very high ranking. It's got good values in it. And I'm sure we're going to promote this further, and we're going to improve our ranking again. And we are going to prove to these students that we can actually deliver and deliver much above their satisfaction. We can actually make them, get them delighted.
These days, if you look at a second PUC student, if he would like to go for Navy or Air Force, do you recall your lives?
Yeah.
Entire life.
Yes.
You recall that.
Yes.
So you will be a perfect example for a person, if at all he would like to pursue his career.
Yes, in fact, I am generally approached by many students who either get calls from SSB centers or have this curiosity to find out as to how they can join the forces. And I am very happy whenever I see them. I am very happy that I actually inspire them to join this. Whenever they look at me, they talk to me in the gym, or whether I am just walking in Satish Kam or in the student circle. So all these places they meet me and they generally ask me questions of this sort.
It's really great to hear, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, was there any instance where you felt that you need to give up and it's very, very difficult? I need to get back into track immediately.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So this, like I said, I was in the submarine project, which is a nuclear submarine project, and I had this injury.
Okay.
And like I said, I was very used to running almost every day to keep myself fit. And when I was being taken to Mumbai, and I was told that my spinal cord needs to be operated, I interacted with the doctor, and the doctor had told me that you may not be able to run again.
Okay.
And that came as a shock to me, because I was pretty fit till then. And he also advised me many other things, not to lift weights and not to even stride or jump, all those things. So I got pretty scared. And initially I didn't know what to do, and there were many kinds of advices which are coming either way, whether I should go ahead with the surgery or not. But then I eventually took a call, and I was given bed rest for a very long time. And but then slowly and steadily I recuperated, and within 6 months of my surgery I was up and running, and I have never stopped since. So this was like 2009.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great to hear, sir.
Thank you.
Truly an inspiration for students who are about to lose their track to get back into track. That is what we usually need the students to get back into their track to focus on their career. Right. Now, what else you do, sir? Like other than this, do you have time? What are your other interests?
Oh, so yeah, I have many interests. Like one of them, I'm just still learning how to play guitar. So I've got a guitar for myself, and just to keep me occupied with something different. So I always pick up one or other hobby or something different to keep myself busy.
Won't you feel tired at the end of the day?
I do feel tired sometimes when I have actually worked out a lot in the morning. Otherwise not. But I generally have a very sound sleep in the night. and then morning I'm very fresh, and I'm not fresh the day when I don't work out.
Oh,
So it's on the other, actually the other way
it's
around.
been a habit.
It's been a habit like this, so that I think keeps me fit, keeps me motivated.
Okay.
I'm very happy when I just finish my normal physical training in the morning, and I feel very rejuvenated early in the morning after that.
Okay. Maybe you need to be a coach to a lot of students who are very lazy. That is what we feel. Thank you so much, sir. It was truly my pleasure once again. I would
My
like
pleasure.
to say too many words of wisdom. I hope it will inspire the younger generation. In fact, Commander, now the director. So obviously, director's words of wisdom. I hope our viewer friends will take it very seriously, and hopefully it will inspire. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me on the show, and I truly believe that this show is going to reach many students over there, and I hope the words of wisdom that I have said motivates you all to make a right choice in your career.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
So I would like to finally thank Commander Dr. Anil Rana sir for being the guest in my talk show Achievers Success. See you in our next episode. Till then, take care. Bye bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you.